Aayushi Jain. I head policy and government partnerships at Bounce. We are a two-wheeler shared mobility company. A lot of you here who've even traveled from the airport to here would have seen a yellow bike around town. If not, do see a yellow branded bike, and we are that. Our sole belief is how can we make mobility the fundamental right with increased urbanization, with increased people traveling to work now, how can we provide accessible, affordable mobility? Two-wheeler is sort of the form factor of India that can go over your sort of broken roads, that can actually travel at a high fuel efficiency, and how can we get that customer from point A to point B in a very cheap fashion? So I just wanted to start off by talking a little about India. So right now, just between 2011 to 2019, there has been an increase of 58% in the number of sort of percentage of vehicles that have been registered in India. And 70+% of those vehicles are actually two-wheelers. So two-wheelers is the preferred form factor. And how could we take that up, and how could we provide sort of this comfortable space in increased, highly dense cities for people to travel around? The way we see urban mobility transitioning is there are three brackets. There are people who travel between 1 to 3 kilometers. There are people who travel between 3 to 6.5 kilometers, and then it's 6 to 7 kilometer plus. We think that 1 to 3 kilometers is a bracket where people end up walking or bicycling to that point to buy fruits or to the theater or whatever that may be. But 3 to 7 kilometers is the bracket we are targeting, where we know that given the weather conditions, given the road conditions, it is extremely difficult and unsafe for anyone to actually walk in India at this point. I myself try, and whenever I'm wearing heels, I'm always prepared how many times I'm going to fall on the road. And that is a sad thing, but that's where we play. That's a personal point for me on how could I work towards a future and enable any women to drive from point A to point B, especially thinking of the women I taught, the children I taught in Teach for India. I had a class of 34 amazing, bright fourth grade girls, and how could I provide them affordable mobility when they grow up and they tell their mothers or fathers that I want to travel from the slums of New Delhi to Greater Noida or whatever that may be and get that job. So that is my larger vision of being part of this startup. I already talked about the form factor aspect of it. The way Bounce operates is, it's not just a scooter, but we see it as an IoT-enabled device. We make sure that the vehicle is fully maintained from an aspect of your tire pressure, from your fuel sensors, to ensuring everything on the vehicle is maintained all the time. We make sure that we are doing close to about 100,000 trips a day just in Bangalore and have expanded to over 7+ cities in the last 1.5 months. Our vision is to get to about 100+ cities in the next 11 to 12 months in the next year, and ensure that just not in South India, but across India, how could we provide that access to mobilities? We have done about 10 million trips in the last 10 months. That's actually faster than even Bird and Lime, that is abroad, who is doing it in another form factor. But we have done even 10,000 transactions, 10,000 plus transactions before Ola and Swiggy here locally. We recently added 1,000 plus ampere electric scooters into our fleet, and we are testing them right now. We ensure that a customer can go on the app, of course, do a KYC, make sure they are actually legal to drive our scooters, and then they go on the app, and within 3 to 5 minutes of walking distance, they can get to that scooter. And we do not actually make it a difference to show them, is it electric? It is not. Because we want to tell the customer that you can drive an electric scooter just like you can drive a petrol scooter. We want to drive that behavior, and we want them to walk into their next sort of sale and say, okay, why don't I see if this company actually has an electric scooter as well? Also, electric scooters are a little expensive right now in comparison to petrol vehicles. So how can we provide a 20-30 rupee trip and also give them access to trying an electric vehicle? On the back end, from our perspective, it makes economic sense. It makes sense from a per kilometer basis, but also it makes sense from a maintenance basis. We have over 20,000 plus scooters just in Bangalore. Imagine how much operations we need just to make sure every scooter is maintained top to bottom. So electric actually provides even that aspect of the maintenance that we can ensure a larger fleet in multiple cities. So that is the larger sort of forte we are playing under, and how can we ensure, again, I'll say this, how can we ensure that mobility is seen as a fundamental right, and how can everyone have access to cheap, affordable, as well as clean mobility in the future? Thank you so much.